What's going on, you guys? Slim back here today with my ultimate side decking guide for this February 2021 format. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell. You guys will be notified whenever I upload. You'll also be notified when I stream over here on YouTube as well as Twitch. Links in the description. While you're down in the description, consider joining my ever-growing Discord community. Just an awesome community and a lot of fun that we have going on over there. If you're going to purchase any of these cards that I talk about, and you always know, your boy tells you, pick these cards up because it's important. You need the best side deck staples in the game. Use that TCG player link. A portion of what you spend goes back to the channel. It helps me out and I really do appreciate it. And last but not least, if you further want to support me in the channel, consider becoming a channel member by clicking that join button or becoming one of my Patreons. One last thing I'd like to announce, my boy ATG Smitty, he's my main Discord mod as well, just helping me with all the stuff that you see in my streams. I couldn't do it without him. He had to postpone and reschedule his tournament. It's now going to be on February 27th and 28th. It's going to begin at 5:30 EST. Free entry. I'm going to have the link to his Discord down below if you guys want to join that. Definitely check it out. My boy helps me out on everything, so I just want to shout him out and make sure that you guys definitely attend that tournament. If I have the time, I'm going to try to commentate some of the matches as well. But yeah, definitely check it out. Definitely support my boy. And again, follow the link in the description to join his Discord and join the free tournament. With all that out of the way, you guys, let's hop into it. So with every side deck guide, I always start with the same three cards to talk about it. And it's funny, my opinion seems to change almost every time I do this. These three I thought were going to be like the holy trinity. These were going to be the cards that you would see in every side deck. And the funny thing is, as the format has continued on, they've kind of just lost their their ability to be played in every side deck. While you will see these cards, I always forget that Red Reboot is deck dependent, and that is my mistake. Not every deck will play Red Reboot. I think a deck that should play Red Reboot is a deck that can capitalize on winning the game that turn, because if you Red Reboot your opponent and don't close out the game, you just gave them another trap card, and that's like crazy. Pank will always be the best side deck card ever. Harpy's Feather Duster is self-explanatory for all the rogue decks. Now, while I'm doing this, you guys may be wondering, Slim, it's already like damn near finished February. Why are you making the video now? I'm doing it because the format has pretty much stayed the same, and not only that, we don't know when we're getting our new ban list. When we get our new ban list, that's going to change a lot of these side deck patterns and stuff, so I wanted to make sure that I got this out for anyone that's playing in any of these remote duel extravaganzas. If you're entering my boys tournament, all this stuff, this will be the most complete guide that I can make to show you guys your best side decking options. Remember, you only get 15 cards, but I'm going to show you so many options you can just pick and choose, and that's kind of how we do things on this segment. But yeah, I always have to mention these cards first because I feel they're just that important. Now we're going to get into kind of like matchup dependent hand traps, and these will come as no surprise. Virtual World being the dominating force that it is here in the format. I have Lancia and Nibiru. I think these are the best side deck cards, the best hand traps to side against Virtual World that are not in most people's main decks. Now, I have seen a resurgence of Nibiru in the main deck, so you can take this with a grain of salt. If you're already main decking it, you're good. You don't have to worry about Nibiru. Lancia, I mean, you guys already know, it was at a point where Drytron was main decking this. This card is just insane, not only against Virtual World, but you can use it against Dinos, you can use it against Invoke decks. You can use it against any deck that needs to banish. This card is just amazing, and it's just, of course, very good against Virtual World. And Nibiru, if you're main decking it, like I said, if you're side decking it, you already know. 9 times out of 10, if they're not making Gospel Shadow, they walk into Nibiru every single time. Also very good against combo decks like Dragon Link and any deck that extends past 5 summons. Nibiru punishes them for that. So, very standard stuff. These will always be side deck staples, I think, for like ever. Next, I've got Drytron. So, I actually have a lot more for Drytron than I thought. And, of course, these will come as no surprise. I've got the Drolls and I've got the Cycle Readers. To me, these are the best cards. Like, if I was building a side deck to counteract Virtual World and Drytron, these would literally be the cards. These would literally be the cards, the Nibirus, the Lancias, the Drolls, and the Cycle Readers. Now, however you decide to divvy these up, maxing out on sets or playing 2 of each, or deciding which one is just better for your deck, maybe you're main decking Droll. If you have Cycle Reader or you have Droll, those are your best cards possible against the matchup. It's not even close. You guys already know how devastating this card can be. It's not once per turn, so like literally if you get another one, like you just blow your opponent completely out. Not that one wouldn't already do that job. Droll can stop their turn, Cycle Reader can stop their turn. You have to play these cards. They're just very good against that matchup. And sometimes this will come up against Eldritch. I've heard horror stories, so yeah, I had to mention it. Now, here's some kind of gimmicky stuff, but this is stuff I have seen. If you really want to get fancy, you have options like Ally of Justice, Quarantine, and Thunder King. Now, these are obviously just going first options against Drytron. Going second, you draw these cards. They're ass. These are only for going first, but I wanted to give you guys the options if you don't have access to Cycle Readers or Drolls, but every player should have access to Cycle Reader or Drolls. Just saying, they're that important in this format. This card is very gimmicky, but I had to show it off. It says neither player can special summon light monsters. I just thought I'd mention it because someone in the comments will definitely remind me of it. And Thunder King, of course, is just like a mini Colossus. They can't, you know, search and whatnot. But again, it really depends how good Thunder King is. It's kind of here or there. I think Thunder King is better sided in a deck that plays a lot of traps to kind of protect the Thunder King. So yeah, but I wanted to give you those options as well for Drytron because it's always good to have those options. And last but not least, just for Drytron specific stuff, I have Mistaken Arrest and I have Soul Drain. So Mistaken Arrest, you guys already know. Until the end of the turn, neither player can add cards from their deck to their hand. This is very good at stunning the opponent, but make sure you can capitalize on it. But I wanted to mention it again. Soul Drain is specifically if your deck can support this. I don't know if anyone knew about this. I completely forgot this card was even at 3, but it says monsters that are banished as well as monsters in the graveyard cannot activate their effects and start a chain. If you could play it, you could play it. I mean, floodgates are floodgates. I mean, depending on how you feel about them, it really doesn't matter. These are just the cards that are effective in every format. And like I said, not everyone is going to have access to every card that I show. I'm human. I don't have every card, so make sure that you guys comment down below anything I miss, and I'm sure I'll miss a lot of stuff, but I want to show you guys a lot of the stuff that I have at my disposal. And I had to mention Soul Drain because I've seen it just be absolutely devastating against anything graveyard reliant. So those are the cards for that. Now on to more generic stuff. Hand traps, you guys already know. I'm not going to take too much time if I can help it explaining these. I just feel this is main deck in every main deck, but I have seen it in some side decks, so I had to bring it up. But yeah, Ash is the most generic hand trap like ever invented, so have it somewhere in your deck. I've seen it in side decks, so I had to mention it. Now I'm going to talk about the graveyard hate ones. Bell, the homie DD Crow, always the homie DD Crow, and Meister. These are just, you know, these are the cards that Zodiac Eldritch were playing along with Ash and, you know, Withdrawal. These are just the graveyard hitters. Obviously, just very good against anything graveyard related. These two are not once per turn. Bell can stop Nadir Servant. Bell can stop Invocation. Bell can stop a lot of weird stuff. Downside to Bell, you can only use one per turn, but whatever. Same thing with Ash. You guys already know. I just want to show you guys every possible option. If you're siding hand traps or maining hand traps, these are some of the best ones you can play, but again, a lot of people choose to side deck their hand traps depending on what deck they're playing. If they're playing a combo deck, the hand traps are better in your side deck so that you don't draw them, they don't mess up your combos. But yeah, all these cards, they hit the entire format, so there's no reason not to play any of them. And then for the few decks that are siding this, now this became a trend. I noticed more and more decks were siding the Gamma Driver package instead of main decking it. I know Virtual World and I know Dinosaurs and some other decks do main deck it, but if you are siding this, you know how good it is. It's just so good, especially, you know, if you're going second or even going first. Like, you can literally resolve this. If you're playing Omega, you rip a card out of your opponent's hand. You can do so much with this that I had to include it in there as the last hand trap that you play in your side deck if you can support it. The only downside, of course, is Driver, but hey, we were always taking those risks. So that's what I've got for that. Moving on to the back row removal stuff. This is just for all your Eldritch, all your Rogue decks, your Guru, your Altergeist, your Set 5 pure trap decks. Yeah, all of that stuff. We've got all the bombs, we've got the storms, we've got the cosmics, we got the twins. Pick your poison, honestly. Play MST if you want, for all I care. Like, play MST. The Cosmic Cyclone is a little bit better. Lightning Storm if you can afford it. Twin Twister, everyone has access to it. Make sure your deck can support the discard. I think Cosmic is the most versatile. It being a quick play is just very, very strong. Banishing Eldritch traps is amazing. Banishing anything in your way is great. Again, if your deck is a combo deck and you can just blow out the opponent with Lightning Storm, do it. You can also hit the front row with this, so this can also be a board wipe as well. Whatever you guys have access to, but I'm going to show you every option I can think of. So that's what I've got for those. That should come as no surprise. I think one of the best back row removal cards, if your deck can support, and I think every deck can support evenly matched. Yeah, you give up your battle phase. It really depends how important that is to your deck strategy, but this literally just wipes the whole board. Like, this card is absolutely insane. Like, I think this card is fantastic, this format, especially with all the Eldritch decks. So it's a card I highly suggest you guys play, especially if you're not trying to invest in Lightning Storms and stuff like that, because even though time has passed, they are still a little pricey. I want to give you guys every option. Hopefully you guys did pick up the evenly matches early when they were cheaper. I don't know what they're at now, but hopefully not too much. And then these two are just open to interpretation depending on your deck. If you're going first against the trap deck, you know, Heavy Storm Duster is very good. Obviously, you pop 2, doesn't cost you anything. Anti-Spell, I put in here as the removal cards, and I know that sounds a little weird, but it is kind of like a stunning removal card because you literally stop them from playing their spells. So that's very, very strong. Like, they literally have to set them with this, and then you can capitalize on that. So I wanted to mention that again. If your deck can support it, play it. So that's as far as the back row stuff goes. Then you've got dealing with the boards, how to break the boards, the board breakers. How do we deal with the freaking calamities and all that? I hate to say it because, man, this stupid card went up a lot, but this really is the best card because you can literally droplets them, turn off the trap if you have a trap card that you discard, turn off the VFD, quick play, you can just catch them. I forgot to mention you can gamma the VFD if it does come up on the standby phase or whatever, draw phase, whatever. So yeah, droplet is just that good. I know they're pricey as hell, but I have to mention them for the players that do have them. If you're not main decking them, side decking them gives you outs to Dragoon, outs to VFD, outs to freaking everything. This is your budget option if you're really scared of like Dragon Link, all of that stuff. However, it's just not good against Chuche with VFD. If they just end on VFD, okay, you're not that good either, because unfortunately they can just use this. But what I like about Ruler is it can come in against other matchups, like when the Lyraless Bird deck brings out the Barrier Statue, you can Dark Ruler and just try to play. I gotta give you those options. I'm not a huge fan of it outside of it in pure Mech Knights, but this card is still very good. Another option, another budget option to droplets, even though I don't think they'll ever be the same card. But again, I got to give you guys every option to turn off those problematic boards. Speaking of the freaking wind statue, I used to show Gamma in this place, not no more. If you guys watch my Pure Mech Knight deck profile, you guys already know I had to switch over to Godarla because I lost to the wind statue because none of my monsters were wind. They were all light. This is literally just for the bird deck. Not only that, this can out Dragoon. This can out any Floodgate monster. This gives you the option. I know 27 is a lot bigger than 22, but your deck should be able to deal with that. That's all I'm going to say. Even with Mech Knights all being weaker than this, we still have ways to get around this card, and I think this is a lot easier to deal with than a freaking Dragoon or a VFD or anything that stands in your way, or the freaking wind statue telling you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! So yeah, I had to give you guys the best option. Godarla is the best option as far as kaijus go. And then the board breakers that literally break the board without even trying, Needle Sealing and Torrential. I wanted to give you guys both options. Really depends on your deck. Opponent will play into it all the time, and you just capitalize on it, and it's just great. So this is good against just any deck that overextends. Very good against Virtual World if they haven't established anything. So it's fantastic. And last but not least, to wrap up this video, I just have a bunch of random stuff. This is just the random stuff that if your deck can play it and support it, play it. This card is absolutely busted, as you guys saw in the Guru deck. This says skip your turn and you get to go first, so this card's insane. I had to mention it. D-Shifter's nuts. Pick them up. They're dirt cheap. I forgot it last time, but your boy didn't forget it this time. Book of Moon, good going first, good going second, extremely strong, very good against Zoo, very good against a lot of decks. You could just book something like book a tuner against Virtual World, book something and turn it off to where they can't synchro summon. Fantastic. So this card's great. This also can just bait a lot of cards, and that's just like the main point of this card. If going first or going second, it can help you book. It's a defensive spell as well. It can be played like a trap, so I had to mention it. This one, probably the most iffy, and I never thought I'd say that. This card's really faded out of play. Like, some decks play it, some decks don't. I think it's good if your deck can support it. It's a little pricey, like a little too pricey for how lackluster it has been, but this card will always be one of the best cards ever printed in my opinion. Just right now it's not that good, but I have seen a trend of it being sided, so for that reason I had to include it. Obviously this is very good when you go first, being able to capitalize on your opponent using a hand trap. It's also very good at baiting Dragoon and then taking it, so I had to give you guys every option. This card has 3 effects in it which are broken, so gotta mention it because it's just that good. Again, I wish this card was cheaper, but this is another really good side deck option. And out Dragoon, once you bait it, absolutely dominates Eldritch and Dinos and all those decks. It's a very good card against rogue decks. Again, unfortunately this card went up a lot, but I mean, I gotta mention it as well. And then I've got like more, I guess, like on the budget side of things. If your deck can support this, I still think Sanctum and Scythe are good. I think like there's no reason to not play these if your deck can capitalize on them. The ability to turn off your opponent from summoning from the extra deck for the turn is huge, so this is great. Obviously not that good against every deck, but it can still capitalize against a lot of decks in the format, so I thought it was worth mentioning. More budgetary options, like you can play this against almost every deck if you know what to call. It's not as good as people think against Drytron, but it is very good against Virtual World. Calling synchros is huge. You can also play cards like DD Ground, which is literally a macro for the turn. It doesn't cost you any cards, so this card's good too. Like again, I want to give you guys more budget options because I know some of these options I've showed you are expensive. Again, this was the all-star in the Guru deck. If your deck can support it, summon limit literally just says you summon twice, okay, pass turn. So very good against Virtual World, very good against Drytron, very good against the meta in general. So I like that card a lot. And then, of course, going first cards, I think Judgment and Order have, Really no contest with these. Like, this is just very good going first. This says no, and this just says no to all traps. So, I mean, all spells. So, if a deck has a ton of spells, just say no to it, and you'll win because of it. So, it's pretty good. And last but not least, this is to support any of the normal trap cards. If you have the side deck room to do it, if you're going to play them, it's just Trap Trick. Because why wouldn't you want to have an extra copy? You can get away with playing 2 copies in your side deck, a copy of Trap Trick, and there you go. It's a 3rd copy of every trap that you play, depending on what ratios you play. But that's it, you guys. That's my ultimate side deck guide for this format. I know the format's going to change with the ban list. We're just going to lie and wait and see, and that will be the time that we decide to make our next installment of the ultimate side deck guide. I know you're going to see a lot of these cards every time we talk about it, but I think it's important that we constantly re-emphasize the importance of every card that I talked about in this format. And again, I'm human. I don't own every card, even though people for some reason think I do. I don't. So there's definitely some cards I missed. Please let me know in the comments below any cards you are side decking this format and why and how effective they've been. I'm sure there's a ton of them, and I can't wait to hear about them all in the comments. But again, you guys, thank you guys for watching. Smash that like button if you enjoyed. Be sure to check out the description for my boy ATG Smitty's tournament. Make sure you guys sign up and support my boy, and let me know what you guys are doing to combat this format currently, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.